I want to know how you felt in the early days, because you came to London, didn't you? You were very young. It was 1971. It was just out of the swinging 60s, and you had to make the difficult decision of leaving your siblings behind. Mickey Most had kind of brought you over on your own. Now, how did that feel as a young woman moving from Detroit to London at the start of the 70s? How did you feel at the time?
Um, I had been waiting for that chance my whole life, to tell you the truth. I was never tied to being an all-girl band. I just wanted to play. And I actually had two offers to go solo in 1 week. One was with Elektra. They wanted to make me into the next Janis Joplin. Mickey came the same week, saw me, and wanted to turn me into the first Suzi Quatro. So I took the decision. Business-wise, no-brainer. Emotionally, of course, very, very difficult, but there was no way I wasn't going because it was my time,
Now you were signed by Mickey Most, obviously, and you were paired up with, as you said there, Nicky Chin and Mike Chapman, and the hits just kind of flowed from that point. Now, what was the magic between you guys altogether then? Why do you think it worked so well?
They were signed after I did the Slade tour as the opening act with all original songs, I might add. I formed my band finally in England. I got my people and all original stuff. I just have to specify that I am not glam rock, and I never have been. And even Mike Chapman says that on my documentary. I've always been rock and roll, never been glam. I have a plain black leather suit on with no makeup, But because I started having hits in that period, I became associated with that period. But I am rock and roll. But of course, sure, we knew everybody. We're all good friends with loads of them. I knew Slade very well, went on tour with him. Andy Scott from Sweet and Don Powell. We made an album together in 2017, Quatro, Scott and Powell. So yeah, it was very much camaraderie. Yeah, we all knew each other. We all came from the 60s learning our craft. So we had a lot in common, a lot of things that bound us together. And so during that tour, we obviously got our sound together. We became a unit. And Mickey at the same time had just signed Mike and Nicky. And he said to me, even though I'm signed as a singer-songwriter musician, and I usually do all my own stuff, he said, these guys are real good at the 3-minute single. So why don't they come hear your set and see if they can craft that? And they did. And if you listen to the first album, all my original stuff is dun, 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 dun. That's what I was writing. So Mike heard that and went away and wrote Can the Can. We worked very closely together. He wrote specifically for me. He never gave me a song that he wrote for somebody else. He wrote a song for Suzi Quatro, tailored to my character. Yeah. So there were times I was in there doing a vocal and I forgot that it was my song and I thought it was Mike's. So we worked real tight. Now, of course, I do everything on my own or with my son.
Brilliant. And now, how did it feel then being 23, 24 when you were topping the charts all around the world and touring and working hard? I mean, that must have been incredible because that was the dream, wasn't it?
Sure. I'd been training for it since 1964. So it was hard work, but work that I love. And I'm not one of the sex, drugs, and rock and roll girls. My father taught me that it was a profession. He was in music too. A profession. That's how I treated it. That's why I'm still feet on the ground, basically normal, and still out here creating because it is my job.
Yep.
And I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you did blaze a trail for women and other female rock stars to come through, and you probably didn't think that at the time because you were doing what was best for you and you were pushing yourself forward. And you just look at the names of the people that hold you up in such high regard. It's incredible. Kathy Valentine, the Go-Go's, and Debbie Harry, and Joan Jett, and Sherry Curry, and many more. I mean, how does it feel to be recognized and lauded by such incredible female musicians?
Well, I mean, I did know through the years because, we always talk and I always had my compliments, but seeing it on the big screen in a documentary is a totally different experience. And it's actually just very humbling. You go, oh my God, she said what? Wow. It is. It brought a tear to my eye more than once, I have to say. So it's a nice feeling to know that I influenced so many people. I'm so glad I did because, well, I always say I kicked the door down because I didn't see the door. And that's my character. I didn't see the door. I can't pretend I did it on purpose. All I was doing was being me. That's all. No compromising. This is me.
And it's brilliant in terms of your image and everything as well, because is it true that all the leather and everything was you, and Mickey didn't want the leather to start with, and you were saying, no, this is me, this is what I want, and obviously that became your iconic look.
Well, I mean, I still wear it now, so how right was I? You know, the jumpsuit wasn't my idea, although I have to say, in the Pleasure Seekers, quite a few of our outfits were jumpsuits. So I've actually been wearing jumpsuits a long time. I find them great because I'm a very energetic performer and I don't need to worry about anything. Everything stays in place. So I love them. So when Mickey finally agreed to the leather, he was against. And then it was him. He went, okay, leather. And then he said, how about a jumpsuit? I said, great. And I tell this story a million times. I honestly, may the good Lord strike me down, I had no idea it was going to be sexy. Not until I got the photos back. And then I went, oh, who's that? Because I don't lead with the looks card, and I don't lead with sex appeal. That's actually not who I am. All my thing is about take me serious. Take me serious. If I look nice, okay, I look nice. If I'm a pinup, I'm a pinup. But it doesn't filter in as reality. All I really care about is the music and the entertainment and the respect.
Absolutely. Now, just going back to the documentary, I mean, you made that Warts and All documentary. Now, how did you find that working on it? I mean, was it liberating? Was it uncomfortable? Was it joyous? Was it nostalgic? Was it all above? Was it none of the above?
It was all of those. When I decided to work with this director, who I liked, because when he phoned me, he said to me, I'm Liam from Injured. I would like to do a documentary on you. We talked a little bit, and I said, he said to me, I got to tell you, I'm not a fan. And I went, it's funny. I said, okay. He said, no, don't get me wrong. I love your music. I'm not a fan. I went, and I like that. No, I like that. I thought, okay, you're not going to be up my backside. Kissing my ass, you're not going to do that. So I thought, okay. So we talked a few ground rules. I said, okay, I like your approach. I'm not interested in making a documentary where there are talking heads telling me how wonderful I am. And my son pointed out the talking heads are on there telling me how wonderful I am, which is actually really funny. But I said, of course you're going to get some of that. Of course you get your compliments. I said, I have editing scissors because this is my life. But I promise you, and I stuck to this religiously, I promise you, I will not use those scissors, even if I'm very uncomfortable, even if it's hurtful, even if it's embarrassing, as long as what is being said is true and is important to the story. And when I watched it with an audience in London, my first premiere, I snuck in. Then I snuck in on the side just before I had to go up on stage and do the Q&A, but I wanted to see it with an audience. There were many moments when I wanted to go on the floor and crawl out of the theater. And those moments are the best moments in the film. So even though I was uncomfortable, I stuck to that. I'm really glad I treated it that way. And this is what the critics loved about it. They said it's honest, it's vulnerable, it's real. You see the struggles, and yeah, good. I'm really glad I did it. I wanted to put the record straight, and I accomplished that.
Brilliant. And I highly recommend anybody to check that out if they haven't done so far. It's called Suzi Q.